Hey everybody, I'm Jesse Camp and welcome to Street Rock. On this episode, we are...
Today's episode, fantastic guest. 1998, if you watched MTV like I did, you know this guy. They had a contest called Find a New MTV VJ. This guy won it, Jesse Camp. Hey guys, this is Jesse Camp. You're listening to Van Halen, man. He won the contest, became a VJ, was a smash hit all over America. You're gonna find out what happened, how he got that gig, his childhood, everything. It was fantastic. He's above ground, he exists, he walks the streets of Hollywood, talking and rocking. Jesse Camp.
We are outside of Dean Delray's house, so we're doing a podcast with him today. He doesn't know we're here yet. We're just gonna go up, knock on the door. Here he is! Motherfucker, you're late. I know I am. Dean, I thought we kill two birds with one stone. We're doing the podcast and doing this show.
Yeah, live in the Hollywood Hills right here, rock and roll.
Dean,
How are you guys?
This is an insane house.
Is
man.
that even plugged in, dude?
No.
Oh, I got you. Just go there?
Yeah, it's a prop mic.
Yeah, man.
The word is out.
Word is out. Like the candles of rock. How are you guys, man?
Killer. Oh,
Word.
it's epic to see you.
Hell yeah,
Thank you so much for having me.
This guy, look at this guy. Let's go in.
I didn't want to disappoint.
No way, come on in, man. We got some shit to talk about up here.
All right.
Let's see what you got, talk. Check you to check.
Yo, check it, check the 1, 2.
Check. I think, hold on. Oh, yeah. This is, what's your chord? Black or the chord?
The black accord.
No longer blackened. Okay. Just fucking. All right, now let's see. Party.
We're ready to rip.
Party. Yeah. Okay. Quick check here, and we'll be partying. You like to party? Yeah. What do you got?
I like to party, yo.
Okay.
I like what's hot.
Okay, there we go. Okay. All right, here we go. Let there be talk. I got a crazy guest today. I did the live podcast a couple days ago at Laugh Factory with Jim Florentine.
Yes.
I see this tall, crazy dude wearing the fucking Steven Tyler style vibe. And then you start talking to me, and after about 5 minutes, I realized, wait, I know this fucking guy, and it's Jesse Camp from MTV days.
That's right, man. In the flesh.
Now,
I'm
here's
excited as hell to see Mr. Dean Delray in the flesh.
here's what's weird as fuck. Two things. What were you doing there?
What's weird as fuck is that you have a chimpanzee in the corner in a weird cage.
Yeah.
This is like amazing, Dean.
This is mini Michael Jackson house, dude.
Oh my God. Do you have an ape like a Bubbles type thing?
I do. You see him over there, man. His name's Squirrel. He's a chimpanzee, but his name's Squirrel.
How many bananas does that mofo go through a day?
Yeah, see, this is exactly how I thought the
This is
interview
a
would
crazy
go.
setup you have here. You have a whole pool in the back with live flamingos.
Yeah.
I swear, this is like insane. It's like Las Vegas in the Hollywood Hills. It's amazing.
Dude, you're filming it. They're going to be looking at it going, there's nothing here. Actually, you can't say stuff like that because I try to get donations and then they'll think I'm shady.
Oh, for the animal reserve that you have here?
No, man, for the fucking show. Now let's talk a couple minutes.
Yeah.
What brought you down to the show?
Basically, what brought me down to the show Thursday night at the Laugh Factory, where I do believe if you're lucky enough to come to Hollywood, you can catch Dean on a semi-regular basis. You play there a lot.
I'm at the Comedy Store every night and the Laugh Factory about twice a week. But what brought you there? Did you know it was a rock show?
Well, I'm good. I'm not gonna say good friends, but I'll put it to you this way: I love Jim Florentine.
That's right. He's a great guy, right?
The greatest guy, and like, there's just. But I'm kind of picking up that vibe from you too.
Yeah.
But Jim Florentine's like one of those guys that you just look at and he makes you laugh. Like just seeing his face, I'm thinking like, what is he thinking in his head? And then his weird kind of monotone
got the deepest voice, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
No.
And then of course, I mean, I was a huge Crank Yankers fan, and he did arguably the best character on that. Hey, it's my birthday, yay! I mean,
now let's talk a little bit, because you're one of those guys to me that out of sight, out of mind. You know
I'm hard to pin down. One day I'm an MTV VJ. The next day you hear about me, like opening a humongous high rise in Dubai. I mean.
Now wait, hold on a minute now. So. I remember, what was it, 1998, right? You enter a contest to be a VJ on MTV. At the time, VJ had some weight. You could get some BJs, you could get some chicks, right? I mean, that shit was still kind of cool.
A VJ could get a BJ.
Right, yeah. Hey,
but these days, a DJ can definitely get a BJ.
A club, you mean like Skrillex guy? Yeah, for sure.
I'll break... Dean, and I'm happy to do it, and I'll tell you all about my life and whole MTV period, and all my subsequent craziness and
I want to talk
adventures.
about that, because growing up, I grew up in the 80s, and
where are you from originally?
San Francisco Bay Area.
That's right, and you do a lot of great. You actually, guys, honestly, you have a lot of great material.
Oh, thank you, man.
I had a friend that I was telling her about you, and then she's. That drag queen. But now I'm glad it didn't work out, because I'm glad it's just you and me. But
I mean, you want to bring
another
a drag
podcast.
Queen.
I have another podcast subject for you if we could get her again. Crazy.
Well, some would think you're a drag queen, right? I got your time.
Well, the truth, Dean, and no one knows this, but I'll let it out here, is that I was born a hermaphrodite.
Right.
And so, much like Jamie Lee Curtis.
Right. I get it. Okay.
By the way, you want to know the #1 yogurt in the in the hermaphrodite community?
Yeah.
It's Activia.
Well,
and that's all because of Jamie Lee Curtis's endorsement. Those Activia people, there are a lot of hermaphrodites out there, and they're pooping regularly with that Activia.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I don't even know what the fuck you're talking about, but let's get into some rock and roll.
Yes, let's get on rock. Because in addition to all the MTV stuff, I don't know if you know this, but it's great timing, because May 25th is going to be the 15th anniversary of the release of my first record that I made.
No, we're jumping way too forward, though, because I don't want to get into that yet. Because here, let's get into it. 80s, I'm watching MTV. You got the VJs. You got Mark Curry. You got fucking...
Ricky Rackman.
Yeah, Ricky Rackman, Headbangers. But what are those other guys? They were actually like 5
Downtown Julie Brown.
Adam.
In the beginning, you had Martha Quinn.
Yep.
Nina Blackwood. J.J. Jackson.
There you go.
The guy with the afro.
Yeah, Mark Curry.
Maybe Mark Curry.
Mark Curry.
And then Alan Hunter.
Okay, there you go. Those are the guys.
Those are the guys that started it.
They launch it. It's big as fuck.
1982, first video ever. The Buggles. Radio killed the...
That's right.
Video killed the radio station.
Yep. And then it becomes huge, obviously. And at some point, some of the VJs leave to do other stuff, and they go on. They have a contest, search for a new MTV VJ.
Oh, well, we're plowing through a lot of history.
Are we?
Yeah. I mean, because honestly, the history of MTV is vast, and if we just touch on this for like a millisecond,
I'm down.
It'll make my place in the whole history
I'm down.
it that much more poignant and interesting, because... I mean, we live in a digital age, and so, I mean, you have to really understand, basically, when I was at MTV, it was 1998, and it was, like, the very last era, like, where people would buy, like, records and CDs.
Right.
But...
They had that stuff, like, I remember, like, they would have, during the day, you could vote for a video every day to win. Remember that? Like, to keep that video going. TRL.
Yeah, and that's a big part of what I did at MTV is I was in there during a really crazy period because for the first year of that show TRL, I was the guy in the street,
That's
so
right. That's
I
right.
basically saw that show go from like it being like ghosts in Times Square, like Times Square is a little dead around like 4:30, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, that's right.
To like it being like like 20,000 people in Times Square, like it was New Year's Eve because the Backstreet Boys are there,
Yeah,
like
yeah, it's crazy, right?
crazy, yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about it. You grew up in, and there's like people say, "Oh, the guy was rich." Who cares? You created a character. I get it. In a lot.
I could tell you. I'll give you 100% the facts of.
Let's get into that
of my economics, and
right.
This is some interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Now
you grow up in the East Coast?
I feel like I'm on a first date.
It's good though.
No, it's good. It's
no,
good.
Because you got to understand the magnitude of MTV growing up.
Let me explain where I'm from and geographically and my upbringings. Long story short, and I won't give out my mom's maiden name or my social security number while doing this. But basically, my my birth name is Josiah Holden Camp III.
Right.
And I grew up, I was born in Hartford, Connecticut. I grew up in Granby, Connecticut, which is like right on the...
rich neighborhood.
No.
No?
I mean, decent, though.
Yeah.
It's like a suburb of Hartford, but there's a big difference between being a suburb of Hartford and being like a suburb of like Greenwich or Stamford or something. Because like we were like basically like 10 minutes from like Massachusetts. Like, so it was kind of... Granby was a town that was on the cusp of like, working class, but then it had like some rich people too. But my mom and dad were both teachers, and my dad was a history professor, and then my mom was like the principal of the school, of the elementary school in my town. But long story short, my mom was born and raised in the Netherlands, and then she came over to America when she was 19, and then she was like taking like and then my dad was a little bit older. He'd just started teaching at the University of Hartford, Connecticut, and then she wasn't a student of his, but they met there, and so yada yada yada.
Right.
Anyway,
at what
so
time?
Basically the whole MTV story with me is nuts. So like I was a good student. My parents probably brought in about like 120 grand a year back then, which would be like the upper middle class.
But
not like rich.
Yeah, I get it.
But I went to a great, you see what changed my life is I went to a great private school, like for high school.
And that's the shit that people grabbed onto, right?
Right.
Because you created a character that you were a street kid.
Yeah.
And,
I really became one. And the thing is, I was one of those, but by the time I was doing the MTV thing, you see, I was 18, and when you're 18, and you're so into a movement, you know what I mean? I was like so into the street kid kind of like vibe and aesthetic that I did like actually forget in my head,
Yeah.
But I think what was even cooler about all that is just for that time period, how much stuff I was able to get over on MTV. Basically, the thing is that
they didn't do any research.
No, once I won this contest, MTV put together like this half-hour special about my life.
Yeah,
and and the thing is, it was all a head trip because I did really kind of create a character, of the Jesse Camp. Did they create
it or did you?
Oh, I 100% created it. Because that made them think it was me.
Right.
If anybody is like a kind of an Andy Kaufman.
That's right.
I was like a real life Andy Kaufman.
Well, Bobcat did character, a huge comedian. Bobcat created character. Different people create characters. And as much as they want to fry you when they find out, in your mind, you're not going to get it as a regular guy. You need to pop out. You need to have something. So are you at your house going, I'm going to enter this contest and I'm going to come on as like a street kid?
The thing is that when I was 18, I was like a mix of crazy confidence and see, the story really starts when I was at that private high school,
right?
Which was actually such a cool school because basically it was like the high school in my town was cool, was like kind of deadbeat, but like this school was like it was like half day students, which I was, and then half boarders.
Kind of like an art kind of school, or what,
almost
what
like an
school?
art, very much an art school. I got into acting and theater there, and then basically like my senior year of high school, I had like a scholarship for an acting program at UCLA. So my mom and dad thought that I was gonna basically go there.
Right.
But I you know, and then at the same time, I had an older sister, Marisha, and she'd been going to NYU for like 2 years, but she dropped out, kept some tuition money without it getting back to my mom and dad somehow. So basically, like, you know, like my mom and dad, we had a Citgo gas card and a mobile gas card, and we were on our way. Basically, right after I graduated high school.
Gas
like,
cards are the key to the city, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because I had one, like, I was dead broke, but my mom gave me a Shell card, and she'd be like, if you get in any trouble, just use the card. And then once they put those little markets in there, now you're eating. You can get cigarettes. You can get beer, you know?
Yeah. Oh, and check this out. If you have listen, I think that the Citgo Gas Company maybe is not as prominent as it was like 20 years ago.
I remember back then, yeah.
But I mean,
it's an East Coast station.
Yeah, but then there's this thing where like so many Citgos are joined to 7-Elevens.
Yeah.
And it used to be that like, so shit, you could like just shop at the 7-Eleven.
You could just live on these gas cards.
The deal is that the bill would then go back to my mom and dad.
That's exactly what happened to me too. My mom would be like, what the hell? $200 gas bill. And I'd be like, I need to survive, you know?
That's funny shit.
Now
long story short, basically, like we took off. We had the gas cards. We had money. My sister and I went on like a 9-month like road trip, and we did come out to LA, but we had crazy adventures from like Gallup, New Mexico to like Boise, Idaho. We ended up living with like a religious cult for 2 weeks, but then we had crazy.
Like modern day hippies.
Modern day hippies. We had a crazy adventure where it was like around Halloween and Jane's Addiction. Were like reunited in this 98, and they were like playing like at the Sahara Hotel in Las Vegas.
Yeah, with Navarro.
With Navarro and Flea on bass.
Right.
And they were making this whole movie about it, and then this like guy like scouted me out for it and gave me like an acting part in that, and I did that. And so that was all even before MTV. But then basically it was like February of 1998.
Yep.
And like, you know, me and my sister, we had like this brown Volvo, and it was kind of on its last legs, and there was just something in us that was like, okay, we've kind of done this long enough. We really need to get back home, give our parents a break from worrying
just
a little.
Just did the old find yourself thing.
Yeah, and so then my sister was totally fried when we got back, but she had been living in New York the last 2 years, and it seemed really interesting to me. So then basically, like in March, I started like what I would do is I would basically go into New York City, hang out there for 5 days, take the bus back on the weekends, recuperate, and do it again.
Yeah.
And I had some weird.
Where are you hanging out at? Like the Limelight and shit like that? Are you clubbing or what's going on?
No, not even clubbing, man.
What are you doing?
Just like fucking exploring. I was still so young that like, you know.
Are you doing drugs? You out drugging and stuff?
Yeah, in my own way, but not, you know, innocent stuff.
Yeah, just weed or something.
Just weed, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Now you got to be like,
but it's all new and it's so exciting. Now listen, at this point, I had explored like everywhere else in the country, from like Dubuque, Iowa. Well, not everywhere, but most everywhere.
Right.
So I was really like hip to the road and stuff. But New York was like this new urban, crazy, cool adventure. So anyway, basically like 2 weeks I'm in, like MTV announces this contest that it's like anyone who wants can like you know, come down to their Times Square studio and try out to be a VJ.
Right.
And so I was like, you know,
like who's not going to do that, right?
Who's not going to do that? Also, the thing about how I changed my name to Jesse is that basically I remember on that road trip, me and my sister, we had gone to Graceland.
Yeah.
And she, you know, my sister had an Elvis obsession, and he had a brother named Jesse. And, you know, we were just like, wow, Jesse, that's kind of the coolest name. And I was like, yeah, that's the dopest name. So then when I entered the MTV contest, they asked me my name, said, my name's Jesse Camp.
Now, in your
mind,
I did
kind of create a, you know, like.
Did you have the character in your mind going to the audition? Or did you just
sort of,
on the spot?
It was sort of like how at that time I thought to sound cool, you'd sound cool. And I was, you know, into punk rock at the time. I was also very into like 80s hard rock, and I was, you know, which was really kind of unhip at that time because 1998.
Yeah, because grunge had killed it all.
Listen, I got to tell you, and I'm not going to tell anyone where they're all stored, but I have like a rock T-shirt collection that's fucking
That
if Japanese were to find it, it could be worth.
Yeah, that
millions.
shit's great, right? Like recently, like about.
But in 1998, you could you could actually go into a Goodwill,
just buy
go
them
through
all.
the
Remember?
T-shirt racks. There'd be Trickster T-shirts, Britney Fox T-shirts.
Yeah.
Like people. Oh,
Yeah, 99 cents, right?
99 cents.
Still, when I'm on the road now doing comedy, I search them out, and you'll score an Iron Maiden Peace of Mind or something. But
yeah,
like a lot of people don't understand. Like you can see in my house, I got a shitload of rock memorabilia, and it's.
Are we gonna be lucky to go in there after?
Well,
just for a minute.
You can see it here, right here. Like there's belt buckles, there's Zeppelin,
a King Diamond.
King Diamond. Those are some early belt buckles. But over
so
there,
you're a huge rock fan.
Oh God, yeah, dude. Look at me.
Shit. I got to tell you another interesting story. So, like, when I was this is pre-MTV. This is like November of 1997. So Motley Crue are on their Generation Swine tour.
Yeah. Who's singing on that? Is that
Vince Neil?
Oh, he's back.
And I'm gonna tell you this. Generation Swine is my favorite Motley Crue record.
Really? Well, you know what I always say?
Afraid is their best song.
I always say it's whatever record you discover the band on usually has.
No, I knew them, man. I remember buying Dr. Feelgood on tape cassette.
Tape cassette. I love it. So I get it. That record just
it blows my mind. Also, with all my tons of T-shirts, I used to be a mad-ass tape collector.
Yeah. I just sold my cassettes.
Hold on, you're gonna wish you hadn't.
Why?
Because I went into some store.
Yeah, hipster stores. That's where I sell them, man. They sell them for $15, $20 now.
What the fuck?
Can you believe it? So I was getting like $8 and $10 a piece. I've only got a few left there that they wouldn't take, but I had shit like
what, like a Doro Pesh?
Nah, like Lita Ford, Wicked.
Why would they not take Lita Ford?
Yeah, hipsters don't want that. They want stuff like Maiden, Judas Priest.
Yeah, but that's the obvious shit. The cool shit.
The stuff they want.
The cool shit. Listen.
Yeah.
Let me tell you this.
Okay.
For your listeners, and if you want to get into metal, you guys got to know that I'm true. I'm hardcore.
Yeah.
Give me a bet and let me see if I can name all Lita Ford's albums.
Okay.
All right. Out for Blood.
Right.
Dancing on the Edge.
That's it. That's the one they wouldn't take, but go ahead.
You Gotta Let Go.
Yeah.
Isn't that on there? Then I think there was an album made with Tony Iommi that was never released.
Yeah.
And then her big breakthrough produced by the amazing Mike Chapman, Lita. Fucking great.
Yeah.
And then followed up by fucking awesome record. I remember buying this on tape cassette on the same day I bought Steve Vai, Passion of Warfare.
What?
Yeah, Lita Ford Stiletto came out.
Yeah. Which one had If I Close My Eyes Forever?
That's Lita.
Okay. Yeah,
That's Lita.
Yeah. Crazy.
Oh, yeah. Close your eyes.
Yeah.
You've got to close your eyes for me.
Crazy. Like a palm of my hand. It's sailing up for you.
Like a dagger. Stick me in the heart. Put the blood through my veins.
If I close my eyes forever.
Will it all remain the same?
Yeah, man.
But then, you know what other song was on that one?
What one?
I went to a party last Saturday
yeah.
night. I didn't get laid. I got in the fight.
Oh, yeah.
It ain't no big thing.
Right?
Late for work and the traffic was bad. Had to borrow $10 from my old man. It ain't no big thing. But you know what I like? You know I like dancing with you. That was followed up, though. Final thing is that Stiletto was followed up by arguably Lita Ford's best album, Dangerous Curves.
Yeah.
Which is the fucking excellent album. But that came out in 1992, I think, when, all that shit was on the wane. But that had like...
I wasn't listening to that. I think I was on fucking...
You're probably into some grunge at that point.
Man in the Box,
But you know what? That's an interesting thing is that, like, if you were to take a lot of the biggest hair metal bands and the albums they released from, like, 1993 to 95, you have so many undiscovered gems.
But
that's
I
when
don't
you
think
do
the
have the
gems.
Motley Crue self-titled with John Corabi. You have Tesla, Bust a Nut.
Yeah.
You have like Cinderella Still Climbing. I mean, like,
see, and here's the thing. I'm a huge rock fan. I love Cinderella. Long Cold Winter. What a fucking great record. First record, fantastic. I don't think that is a good record. You know what I mean?
Which one?
The later ones. And I think because I don't just give up on bands. I always clown on people like, like right now, Kings of Leon. Like, how come nobody's buying Kings of Leon? They're fucking still good. You know what I mean? But people just
wait. Are you talking about like that new album that's like, I take one in the temple.
Yeah.
I take one for you.
Yeah.
That one.
But
That's a good album. It's not bad, actually.
But what I'm saying is, grunge came at the right time, I think.
Oh yeah, no, it's all good. But you got to understand that where I came in is like when I was in high school. Listen, my freshman year of high school, Kurt Cobain killed himself.
Right.
So basically, coming from that point, it was a weird, like 95, 96 was strange. Like the Grateful Dead were huge where I was at, like the Dave Matthews stuff.
Totally.
I got really into
Blues
punk.
Traveler.
Yeah.
And that Horde stuff, that kind of shit.
Yeah,
right?
that was huge. That jam band shit was huge.
Just Trustafarian rock.
Yeah.
Right.
But then basically towards the end of, and then you had bands like Bush.
Yeah.
I remember a couple of times, see, I'm a huge comedy fan, like even like being in high school, and like when my sister was living in New York, I had the best sister ever. She would get like standby tickets to Saturday Night Live.
Oh, sick.
And then so like, but this was like when Saturday Night Live was in that like post Chris Farley building era.
Who was the
like
who
it
were
was
the
like
cast?
Will Ferrell's like first it was like Will Ferrell's like first year.
Yeah, he's
and
great.
Like but it was like the only time in SNL history when it was actually easy to get like tickets.
Yeah,
because
because the people didn't know who the people were yet.
Yeah.
I got you. And then later it gets red hot again and it's hard to get in.
But during that time period, I remember going down and seeing like Robert Downey Jr. host, seeing like Bush as the musical guest. So like that was that weird period.
So you go to the audition, you step up
MTV,
to the camera, and what do? You're just like, hey, this is Jesse Camp, man. I want to be on MTV, motherfucker. That kind of shit.
Well, I was kind of like, like sly about it. You know what I mean? Like putting in like subliminal charm, because basically, like it's like what you don't say. So like, they basically like, you go in, you say your name, and then you like read a cue card, and you read like another cue card at another thing.
Yep.
Oh, you're gonna love this.
Yeah, I am.
This is another fucking twist. This is another twist on the story that gets us back to Jim Florentine.
Yeah. Don Jameson finds you here.
Yeah, Don Jameson. So basically, like they're going through like the audition tapes, because basically how this contest worked is like, basically. Well, like I think they ended up having something like 5,000 or 6,000 people, like actually come down and like
audition,
go audition, which was just like the craziest thing. And then,
can you imagine it now? It'd probably be 50,000. Yeah,
you know what? Here's the other thing you got to remember, and this is a big thing to like the story, is that this all happened pre-American Idol,
right?
Pre-The Voice, pre-America's Got Talent,
pre-Kim Kardashian sucking a dick to get
Kim
famous.
Kardashian. This is 15 years ago, pre all the reality show. So the fact that MTV was doing this was groundbreaking. In fact, MTV doesn't get the credit it deserves in reality TV, because they started it really with the real world.
Right? Oh yeah.
That was
they did. That was really
and then what they did with the Osbournes was really revolutionary. That was another great thing.
That's what killed
I got
MTV.
to be a part of.
Right?
It killed it, but the times killed it. What really killed...
People weren't watching videos anymore. I get it. But also, when you're making it all reality shows, you're like, where the fuck are the videos?
No, what killed the video aspect of it, quite honestly, is two things. Number one, YouTube. Basically, you can watch
anything you
your
want
favorite
right now.
video you want whenever you want. You know what I mean? But, yeah. And then the other thing is, well, basically YouTube, but then
you got to think now. There's a station.
Also, then MTV kind of splintered off. They made MTV2. They made all these other MTVs. So if you buy the expensive cable package, you could still watch like 24-hour video.
You can, but the thing is, I think that they didn't adjust to like live by the kid, die by the kids. You know what I'm saying?
If the kids are united, they'll never be divided.
The kids are your audience. I understand that. That's why they had VH1 for older people. But they have that one station right now.
Do you remember when VH1 was seriously like Celine Dion and Michael Bolton videos?
I do.
That was kind of cool.
And Hall & Oates and Genesis.
Yeah,
right? No
Invisible Touch. That. And your No Son of Mine.
VH1 Classic came, and
VH1 Classic is the shit. Was the shit when it first came out.
Right.
I'll tell you, I was such a crazy nut that when VH1 Classic first came out, I would buy because I was like, holy shit, they're playing every video ever made. And I realized that they had like these 8-hour cycles, and then they'd repeat it another 8 hours, like the same 8 hours, in a 24-hour thing. So I'd get like an 8-hour videotape and like record 8 hours of VH1 Classic at some point during the day, every single day. I still have like a box of like 1 million VH1 Classic videos.
So you go in, and then they're skimming through the tapes, and Don Jamieson is one of the guys watching.
Don Jamieson is one of the people, picking contestants.
Is he working at MTV at the time?
Yeah, Don. I guess Don was ambitious, and he was probably 10 years older than me. Maybe he was in his late 20s or something. He was working at he was working at MTV in production or something. And so, they saw my tape, and then a couple of people were like, "No, I don't think so." But he was like, "No, we need to have this kid."
Yeah.
So anyway,
well, he saw a vision that I would see too, which I see like right now going on in comedy. If you have all the same stuff all the time and you bring back a different flavor, people will grab onto it. You know what I mean? Like, oh, this guy's crazy. And anything you have like, oh, he's rock, or, oh, I don't like him. You have people talking, and that's what you need over a VJ. So he saw that probably.
I mean, I don't know if you know this, Dean, but, Russell Brand has come out several times and said, that I'm his number one influence.
Is that right?
Yeah.
For real?
Yeah.
I've never heard that, but that's real?
Absolutely.
Wow. So,
a lot of what I did laid the groundwork for Avril Lavigne.
Wow.
And, I was kind of like ahead of my time, just a little too early, but then there were a lot of factors too.
Let's talk for 1 minute now. You look exactly like you did then. You're older, obviously, but you look rock and roll. You have the same kind of stuff. You have the exact kind of boots, skinny jeans. It's that GNR appetite look.
Exactly.
I know the look. I wore it myself 100%. And I love that you still rock the look, which is cool. But when you went for the audition, was that your look, or did you fabricate it like, I'm going to go in as a rock and roll guy, like an old 80s?
No.
That's how you looked in New York?
No, that's how I looked.
Okay.
Yeah.
And why did you look like that? Were you into 80s rock that you missed? Or
my look was actually, I'll tell you, I've always been thrift store junkie.
Yeah.
That was,
I love that shit myself. Except for it all fits like shitty. It doesn't
thrift
fit
stores now
rock.
And in LA, they're not what they were.
No, because it's worth money now.
Yeah.
But I know what you're talking about. I mean, back in the day, you go in a thrift store, you get like a badass pair of sunglasses, some cowboy boots, and a fucking leather jacket that some grandfather left to his kids, and you'd roll out for $80 and you'd be rocking.
Oh yeah, and like the Goodwill on Vine in particular, and then there used to be this other place. I was called Studio Wardrobe that was on Highland.
Right.
I don't know if you remember this place.
I don't know that one.
It was run by this insane guy named Rick, and like he was a burned out hippie.
Yeah.
But he basically had he would have like truckloads from China somehow of like all the fucking greatest finds, but then you'd be like, "Hey Rick, I'm gonna take this." That's fine.
Wow.
I don't know. I mean, so you go.
Where
am I going with all this?
So you've got your look.
Yeah.
You
so,
go in, I'm
no,
Jesse Camp, what's up? And then people...
The only thing I fabricated was my voice because...
Right, because it's hilarious. Because
Yeah.
when you started talking to me in front of the Laugh Factory, I was like, I know this fucking voice, which creeped me out.
What's scary is that after all these years... like I had a time period like probably like 2 or 3 years after the whole MTV thing where I really saw the magnitude of like, I blew this. I didn't blow this, but I could have made this so much cooler by just actually having been myself. But that was the trouble having that happen like when I was literally 18.
Well, yeah.
You
I
know,
mean, like
is I
Pauly
wasn't-
Shore created the Wheeze. People, but
right.
But
And here's the thing: is I think psychologically, you do intrinsically know that it's much cooler to make it 100% from the street up, than it is to kind of take a fast break. And this VJ contest was going to be my fast break all
Gotcha.
along. My plan was, and my big dream, coming out of high school was to form like a new Motley Crue or like a new Aerosmith.
Right.
And like Hanoi Rocks was the band I was obsessed with.
Were you a singer before you started VJing? Like, did you try?
Yeah, I did sing, but I mean, I played guitar, I played the saxophone, I played the drums.
And you loved Hanoi Rocks.
Loved Hanoi Rocks.
That's interesting that you love Motley Crue because,
Right, Razzle killed,
yeah.
Vince Neasel drunkenly killed Razzle somewhere in Hermosa Beach or somewhere.
Somewhere, but I never say he killed anyone because you know how it goes, and this is a true fact.
Oh yeah, listen, I have 5 vehicular manslaughter charges pending, so I understand what it's like.
Well, what I'm saying
and I feel
is,
bad for the families.
Whenever you drink,
I'm just kidding, and in fact, the minute I made that horrendous joke, no, I have.
Yeah.
No.
But what I'm saying is,
honestly, I never drive fucked up.
In the 80s, when you're partying,
yeah,
the other guy's partying with you. It's not. So if he had the car, he would have drove.
But you know what? Can I tell you something? Yeah. Again, I'm kind of sitting here like a grandpa because I'm thinking about how beautiful the times are now.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot that I miss about how simple times were like in the 80s, but then, I mean, it's amazing now in 2014.
I believe that too.
Vince Neil could have just gotten on his iPhone and called himself an Uber.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I believe.
A life could have been saved.
Yeah.
Maybe this Uber thing, finally taking over the monopolization of like old school taxi cabs is a really healthy thing, I
think the Uber guy's going to end up killing people. These cocksuckers, man, on Sunset.
If you got a new bit about Uber, this is edgy and this is a good bit to develop.
Well, here's the fucking thing, man. Those guys just park on Sunset. They get a text and they don't even look and they just fucking U-turn on Sunset and, and I'm coming down Sunset on my motorcycle. I was like, whoa, what the fuck, dude? They don't even care. I got to get that ride before someone gives me a bad review. So those guys are going to kill people.
I'll tell you an interesting thing. See, this is what's great about a podcast. We could tell all kinds of... We have our main narrative, which is my life
We've got
story.
our main thread.
Our main thread
is
but
Jesse.
it's okay.
Fuck yeah.
Which,
by the way, I got to tell the audience, you definitely came over stoned because when I opened the door, you just smell like weed, right? So that's cool. I don't smoke weed, but you're still rocking the weed, which is nice.
All right. I mean, I think it must be coming from your neighbor's house or something.
Well, you don't cop
No, I mean, I love to... Of course I do.
I hope so.
Oh, yeah.
So
I just didn't want to have to go into a whole drug history, but I can.
Let's get into this now. So they're voting for you now. Don Jameson says you gotta get this guy.
Yeah, so basically they narrow it from 5,000 people to 10.
10.
And so basically this is between a Monday and a Wednesday. And then
that's as long as the vote's going?
That's how long it takes they have auditions, I think, on Monday and Tuesday, and then on Wednesday, like the final 10 are revealed.
I gotcha.
So they had to go through like a lot of tapes and a lot of shit. But then basically, so then I had the number. This is pre-cell phones. I had the number of like my sister's roommate from college, and so like I gave that as my contact number, and so then I called from a payphone just to see. She was like, "Oh, you got to come over here right now. MTV just called and said like, you're one of the 10 finalists."
Wow.
So like, she put me in a cab, sent me to Times Square. I jump out there. It's like 3:00. I go through the line. I'm like, "Hi, I'm blah blah blah." They said to come. They're like, "Oh yes, come with me."
Now you're doing the voice now.
No, I'm not doing the voice. Or am I?
Okay. No, I'm saying when you're there. Now, in your mind, you go, wait, I got to get this voice?
No, because that was so psychologically crazy because, like, I lived that character. I became that character. I mean, I really took an Alice Cooper type trip with that character.
Now, what made you want to do a voice, though, is what I'm saying. Why not be just you right here, Jesse, because you're already
Because I hadn't figured out who I was at that point.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
You're just nervous. You want to create a character to hide behind. I get it.
That... But also that it was basically like that's kind of what I did to win the contest.
Right. And now you're locked in.
Well, all I was thinking going into the contest is let me kind of like do this character and let me kind of, I was purposely stupid in a way that I knew would get laughs.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I get it.
And when I saw how successful this was going,
yeah.
I'm like, okay, shit, this is my way in. I can tell you, like, the day after the contest was life-changing. I remember taking, like, the PATH train. My sister came down to, like, see me. By this point, MTV had put me up in a hotel. And so, yeah, I mean, it was a whirlwind. It was from, like, nothing to everything, like, overnight. Who had basically, he had managed Run DMC in the beginning, and he had managed, like, Ed Lover and Dr. Dre and Michael Monroe from Hanoi Rocks. And, like, some random things. And so then basically he was my manager. This guy was also kind of actually like instrumental in keeping me at MTV because there were a number of times. You see, I mean, my character got really big. This is really kind of what happened is like my character got really big at MTV, but it was also based on kind of like this, danger kind of persona, you know what I mean, that you didn't know what you were going to do. And there were a couple of times on TRL, which was like a live broadcast, where I did a couple crazy things. Right, because
which
didn't seem that crazy to me, but like spitting a piece of gum out or things like that.
Like your character's crazy, so you have to do some crazy stuff. You can't be safe and fake, right? So you got to push a couple buttons, then you're getting in trouble.
Yeah, at the same time, you got to understand, like, I'm an 18-year-old with, like, the keys to the city.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm, like, partying my ass off, and...
Are you getting money?
Well, here's the thing is that... I mean, I don't really want to get into finances, but I'm actually really, I'm very good financially now. In a place where I can kind of just live my life and I don't have to worry.
Yeah.
But basically, but that's from like my hard work the last like bunch of years. But I was going to say that basically, like, where I made, like, the majority of my money from that time period wasn't really from MTV, but it was from a publishing deal that I signed with a record deal.
Oh, record deal, yeah. So you got a publishing advance on the songs.
Yeah.
Did you sell your publishing?
I think we went, like, 50-50.
Right.
With a bunch of basically on that album. I mean, that album's a great album. I mean, and we had a
signed to Hollywood Records, which was Disney's label. They had the Scream. Who signed you? Rachel Matthews?
No, Rob Cavallo.
Rob Cavallo. There you go. Huge A&R guy.
Huge A&R guy. His dad, Bob Cavallo, signed Prince and was Prince's manager forever. And basically, it was a really interesting time at Hollywood Records. They had, like you said, they had the Scream, and basically since the mid-'90s, they were trying to make a name and get like a breakthrough act. And in 1998, Rob Cavallo took over, so it was perfect time. We basically met with two record labels based from I did a 2-song. Basically, Charlie Stetler, the manager, knew a guy, Rick Browdy, and he had produced like Poison's first record and Faster Pussycat and stuff, and Ted Nugent. And so he put together like this band, which was Cher from the band Vixen.
Yep.
Joe and Bam from a band Dogs D'Amour, and then this other guy who's amazing, Alex Kane from this band Life, Sex, and Death.
I know Alex Kane. He played in my band, dude, for 6 months. That's insane.
Alex Kane.
Dude, I can't believe it. So
Alex Kane never brought me up.
Dude, no, here's the thing. This was before the 98. This is, and Mike Varney goes, hey, this kid from Chicago's pretty good. Check him out. He had a beard. He looked like Ted Nugent. He flew out. We picked him up at the airport. His beard was gone, and we were like, whoa, this guy's scary looking. He had some, like, number 805 or something tattooed on his face. And, he played with us for about, 6 months, and then he played a few weeks and then went home, and we said, yeah, we'll get it going, and then he came back out, and it didn't work out, but anyway.
Wait, why didn't it work out? Because I know this guy.
Yeah, he's an amazing player, but the thing
Alex
was,
all the time, but
we were more of a GNR kind of band, and he was a heavy Cheap Trick guy, which was like what LSD was. And also later, my drummer played with Alex, this guy Eddie Reuter, and they played together and had a band. And Eddie also played in LSD. So fast forward a couple years later. Alex's band gets this deal, and we go to Concrete Convention over at the Burbank Airport.
Those must have been amazing. Yeah. I remember
and
that.
There he
the
is, some fucking shit ass stole my money. Some fucking shit ass stole my money. And here it is, this homeless guy, which he created a character, which is a lot like you creating a character. And his character fucking backfired though, because he had to be stinky and homeless and everything all the time. But he was mind-boggling to see the guy sing his moves. He looked like, basically, Elvis Costello.
You know what?
If he lived in a garbage
can. The thing you got to understand is that the character and me were really. There was I'll tell you everything so you know. Yeah. The only thing about like me on MTV that was a character
was the voice. You said
was the voice and the personality. Right. Which I guess is a lot, but like
that's the character.
Yeah, right? But the way I dressed is how I would have dressed, because that's always like how I thought I was cool. Here's the thing: no one but me came up with the clothing that I wear now, or the clothing. Well, listen, if I'm acting in something or whatever, then that's something different. But like when I'm on the street, but basically, I mean, like Carson would be like, basically, when I was a VJ, the lineup of people were
Carson Daly,
Matt Pinfield.
Oh, yeah. Matt Pinfield,
Kurt Loder.
20 minutes.
Kurt Loder, and John Norris. Mm-hmm. I got some nutso John Norris stories and Matt Pinfield stories, but and Kurt Loder stories. But Ananda Lewis, who was like a really cool girl, like Serena Alchul.
Now, who out of all those were egomaniacs down there? Because you got to think these guys had to be like, I'm the fucking star of MTV.
No, everyone was pretty cool because everyone. Yeah, because I mean, like I was like this 18-year-old like crazy kid, but like I was so. It was clear that I was good-natured. You know what I mean? I mean, I don't know. I think. I mean, so and no one thought like, oh, this guy's gonna. Basically, the thing is that the whole contest, with like basically you got to be a VJ on MTV for 2 weeks if you won.
Oh, that was it. 2 weeks,
and you got $5,000. Yeah, and like and something possibly from Old Navy, which what the fuck? No, it was $25,000.
What?
It was $25,000.
Really?
Which would be like.
Did you get that?
I got that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Half, right? Because of taxes.
I don't even know.
Right.
I had an accountant within the week, and then basically like, I did so well, and it became basically like I sound like I'm bragging, and I don't mean to,
it's
but
not about that. It's just about getting the story.
Yeah. Exactly.
Right.
So
you start killing it. People are loving you.
I'm killing it. It becomes, and then there is also this thing like, oh my God, like it was like one of us is on here, like, because not a disenfranchised youth type thing, but kind of, like where it was like, there's finally like a stoner or like a crazy kid.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I'm just like James Franco, like, I might seem stoned, but I'm not.
Right.
I just totally your gardener that was smoking a spliff out there. Just gotta make that clear.
Okay, so you
So
you
yeah,
sign a
so
record
basically,
deal with
yeah. So
Hollywood.
real quick, then, so basically, like the 2-week deal then becomes like, well, then we'll sign him for another 3 months. They give me my own show at the Jersey Shore called Lunch with Jesse, which would air every day from like 11:30 to 12.
So you're
This
out
is
at the
how the
Jersey
hair metal.
Shore.
This is a very important part of the MTV story if we're gonna really cover it, and
Yeah,
then
we are.
pertaining to hair metal. So basically, like MTV this is actually like when MTV would play videos for half the day, and like all their stuff would be coming from like one central studio. So basically, like MTV was broadcasting like 8 hours a day from New Jersey. From this was way before Jersey Shore, but from that
course.
same same town, Seaside Heights. And
Because Jersey still loved rock.
Jersey still loved rock
I
then.
think there's
and that's the whole beauty of this. So basically, MTV gives me this like show that would air like Monday through Friday, like from 11:30 to 12, where it's like 5 interview segments.
And are you living in Jersey?
I'm living in Jersey during the week for
and
this.
are you just screwing like Jersey rock chicks with that teased up hair stuff? Look at it's Jesse Camp. Are you fucking chicks or what's going on? Out
Yeah, but I mean that was some that's always some. It's
You hold back on stuff like drugs and pussy.
no, I don't. I won't.
It's like 20 years ago, 15 years ago.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's just.
But I mean, you're getting groupies, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I gotta be honest, Dean.
Yeah.
I like to flash back to different periods.
That'd be hot if Jesse Camp was gay. You're like, actually, I was gay the whole time. Yeah, are you gay? Look at you, dude.
Are you serious?
I don't know. I'm just asking you questions. It doesn't matter.
No, that's cool.
It doesn't matter. I love gay guys. I love heterosexual guys. I love fucking freaks. I love crazies. I love artists. I love them all. Right?
I'll tell you a couple things about me first off. It was late. It was at Bob Costas's house. Johnny Weir is there. And, we were just having absinthe. I don't know what happened, but that does not make me gay.
You had gay sex at Bob Costas' house?
Wait, I hope I made that joke right. Who is the figure skater that does commentary at the Olympics?
I don't know. But I thought you were giving me a funny scoop.
No, Dean, let me.
I'm fucking with you the whole way
Dean,
through. I'm fucking with you the whole way through.
And I like it. This is what I was.
Sign a record deal.
But because you touched on an interesting thing, and it would be horrible if I didn't pass this over.
Okay.
No, I have. Oh my God! You know what? That's a whole other TV show, like, to put out there. Maybe if the one I'm trying to make now, like, goes somewhere, like, this could be a sequel thing. But, like, yeah, basically, oh, my God. Yeah, I've had so many crazy girls. But then I'm thinking, like, it was that whole year was weird because that kicked off with, the year kicked off with like Hanson girls because like basically somehow like I hosted like this live Hanson concert, and then all of a sudden I became huge with Hanson girls, but it was really weird because they were all like little kids and stuff, and I was like 18. But then like it was actually at the Jersey Shore where the pussy got real interesting that year. You know what I mean? Because there were a lot of older women that were like rocker chicks there that were in the mix. Yeah, there was cougars before there were cougars.
Yeah, right.
But like it was like the cougars always had like a weird goth daughter,
Right.
or like a weird like. Because you know what? During this time era, during that summer, that was like when Marilyn Manson. It was really kind of a cool era because it was during that summer when like rock music. Here's the thing. I got a really good point here with this.
Yeah.
You got to follow me. Help me get to my main points.
I'm trying to.
I'm going to hit on the big milestones.
Okay.
And we'll start with Elvis.
Yep, we did that.
Then rock changes to the Beatles.
Yep.
Stones.
Yep.
Arguably. 70s, you got Led Zeppelin. Maybe
Eagles.
Alice Cooper,
Boston.
Kiss, Eagles, Boston. I love Boston.
Right, yeah, I'm just saying.
Huge Boston
70s
fan.
rock.
Even love the new Boston album that came out last year.
No, that was garbage.
has some great songs.
Come on.
Heaven on earth.
Come on.
I can't believe
it was horrible. Here's
Really?
Boston. You only need 1, 2, and 3. And 2 and 1 and 2.
Well, you want to know? No, you want to know my favorite Boston album?
God, you always pick the bunk later ones. Okay, what is it?
Although as much as I love Corporate America, their fourth album, I'm a huge Third Stage fan.
I saw that
I'm
tour.
gonna
It wasn't
take
bad.
you by the hand and make you realize,
Amanda.
Can't you say you
That's number
believe
3,
in
right?
me?
That's the
Can't
third
you
record.
say you believe in me?
Yeah.
That
I saw
Third
that
Stage,
tour.
that was killer record.
That was killer. They had the biggest pipe organ in the world on stage.
And then, there's also great. Now, if you're a Boston fan during that time period,
Yeah.
there were 2 albums.
Gary Peel on guitar from
Barry Goudreau,
yeah.
who was on the first 2 records, didn't write anything but played on them. Basically, he made a solo record in 1980, all sung lead vocals by Brad Delph.
Dope.
So it's pretty much like a unreleased Boston record. That kicks butt. And then he formed a band called Orion the Hunter, and they had this huge song, So
I know
You
that.
Ran.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all Boston byproduct.
I mean, you know your rock, which is cool.
Yeah, I'm a
you
huge
know your
fanatic.
rock. I understand it. Now, you get the record deal.
Yeah.
You do a 2-song demo with Alex
Final
King.
thing, really quick.
Okay.
So I was going, getting off Boston. Basically, let's just, again, Elvis, Beatles, Stones, Zeppelin, The Clash, let's say.
Of course.
Guns N' Roses.
Aerosmith.
Nirvana. And then basically the next big movement that happened was brewing that summer. And I'm talking about basically that fall, after we finished the Jersey Shore, when I got back to New York, and then then my manager got them to renew my contract again.
Right.
We're
talking
last
99?
2 weeks. You were talking 98. So then I got renewed again till December. TRL starts in September. Basically that August, I went on the road with Korn for 2 weeks before their album came out, Follow the Leader with Got the Life.
Right.
That comes out, blows up. Like Marilyn Manson, the Dope Show comes out, the video with him in his breasts.
Yeah,
that was like the last time when with Korn and Marilyn Manson. Arguably with the Strokes a couple years later, but that's it.
That shit's killer.
That's the last time.
We got Strokes, Yes, and Kings of Leon all in that era right there.
Okay, fair enough. That's the last time rock was dangerous.
That's right. You're correct. And
now, where I fit into all of this was that basically I wanted to I thought Korn and even Limp Bizkit were cool. I mean, in their own way, because it was dangerous. The Deftones, it was dangerous. These new metal kids, it was scary at first. It wasn't this rap rock
we've
backlash.
missed Metallica somewhere in there, which is the kings of danger for a long time.
Metallica were only dangerous to me around Master of Puppets. Well, from Inception through Injustice for All. Maybe
about the Black Album, though?
a little into the Black Album, but by the
Sad
time,
but true.
But by the time Sad but True and Through the Never came out, they were fucking milking that shit. Actually, I take that back. I was a huge fan.
Yeah.
And this is again just in my mindset. I remember Jerry Garcia dying.
I remember
being around the exact same time that Metallica's Load came out.
Yeah, I didn't like
And
Load.
I remember when they cut their hair and they put out Until It Sleeps.
I didn't like that stuff.
I thought that was actually really ballsy and cool on their part, and I dug that album, and I'm actually one of the only people that digs Load.
Yeah, Florentine loves Load, too. I don't like it.
I've had a lot of crazy run-ins with Metallica over the years.
Yeah, me too.
One of my most rock and roll moments, I don't think he'll mind me saying it because I know he's a lot different now, but I remember during the MTV era, going to Marilyn Manson's show. This is after MTV, and just doing coke with.
What the fuck is that? Oh, press something on my computer. There you go. Mid cocaine talk. My computer just came on.
Great. Now that's crazy.
That is crazy.
Because that Napster era happened a little later, but you know what? It's been such an amazing life. I mean, you don't even. I mean, we'll save it for another time if you want.
No,
but I
man,
mean,
what
just
are you talking? We're not in a hurry. Let me tell you something.
My adventures post MTV, fucking crazy.
Now,
I got involved.
Let's talk about that.
I got involved with this.
You're selling firearms? Was that right? You told me, or was that just bullshit on the street?
Listen, in my life, I have sold firearms before.
Right.
I've never sold machine gun level guns.
How did you get into selling
I've never been at a found myself at a Walmart just outside of Atlanta. Let me think of it. Hey, you want to see how good my geography is?
Yeah.
Give me any. Check this out. Because of how hard and how much I've extensively toured this country, and I'm proud of it. Give me any city, and I'll tell you some suburbs of it.
Well, no, I get it.
Just
Okay,
as a
Oklahoma.
All right, great. Oklahoma doesn't have much, but it has Norman, Edmond, American City. Oklahoma City is its main part. And then I'll tell you, really interesting thing about Oklahoma City, actually. On my very first road trip before MTV, this is a great story.
Yeah.
I got a great story because I think that you like a lot of different things, and this is a freaking awesome story. So anyway.
You got to be the hardest interview I've ever done, trying to wrangle you. You have worse ADD than me. I love it.
But no, because there's so much stuff that
you have a ton of stories.
That's even more interesting at MTV. Check this out.
Yeah.
So I'll give you just 2 stories of things that happened with me and my sister on our 9-month road trip before MTV, which totally transformed me from like a New England kid into like being like a fucking like a street kid.
Got it.
Is that so? Like we were in Louisiana. We had left New Orleans. We had left Baton Rouge. I believe that we were kind of like between Baton Rouge and Lafayette.
Yeah.
And like, so we were kids and we were basically would sleep in our car, you know what I mean, at night. And so like, we were like, but sometimes it was during the summer, it was hot. So we would like try to find a church and always sleep in a church parking lot back then. Now, if you wanted, you could like sleep in any Walmart parking lot you want, but we didn't know that back then.
Right.
So we would always be like, well, and we would get woken up by the cops like all the time. But like once the cops would run your ID and whatever, they'd be like, cool. Cops weren't in, like, you could still travel the country. In fact, like when my sister and I were like we're in LA for like 2 months during that, like in 1997, every night we would always get so scared of like sleeping in LA that we would always drive the car all the way out to Santa Clarita.
Wow. Magic Mountain parking lot?
Yeah.
They were sleeping out there?
No, like a church parking lot out there, like in 1997.
You guys were commuting to stay in your car. That's hilarious.
Fucking
but it's
crazy.
smart, though, because you could be
we
sleeping.
had the mobile gas car. We didn't care. We kind of liked having Santa Clarita.
Well,
as our
Hollywood
home
was
base.
gangster even
It was
10
gangster
years
back
ago.
then.
Fuck
Big
yeah.
time.
15 years ago, it was crazy.
Crazy
Yeah,
shit.
fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah, no, like mid-90s, definitely. And New York was too.
Yeah,
you know.
42nd Street was like.
I'll put it to you this way. Back then I lived on Houston and Avenue A for like 5 years in New York, and like back then Avenue A was hip, Avenue B was kind of bad, C was like crack, and D was death.
Yeah.
You know. Now you go to New York and it's like, you know, like
clean,
fucking
clean.
Yeah, you can't get a reservation on Avenue D for like a French restaurant. You're like, what the fuck happened?
Yeah, right.
But getting back to oh shit. Oh yeah, so really quick, 2 great stories. So basically we're in Louisiana, so we're sleeping in this backwoods town, and like some guy like wakes us up kind of like in the middle of the night, and he's like, why are you guys sleeping on there? And we're like, we were just crashing here for the night. He's like, I live at the house right next door. You can crash at my house. And we were like, okay, even though, you know, it was like kind of could be a serial killer. Anyway, so like my sister and I, then we have to talk with him for an hour. I think he was like on some kind of speed. We didn't know that at the time. We were so naive. But then he eventually conked out. We conked out like on these couches, and then I had to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night. I wake up, I open the door. I think it's a bathroom. I feel for a light. There's a light switch. Turn it on. What do I see in the closet? A Ku Klux Klan outfit.
No. Really?
Right here. Is that basically, we're crazy. We were obsessed with that movie Silkwood, starring Meryl Streep and Cher and Kurt Russell, I think, in the 70s. You know what it's about?
Nope.
Silkwood?
I don't.
Okay, long story short, basically, Karen Silkwood works at a power plant in Crescent, Oklahoma, and this is a real true story. And basically, it finds out, this is like the 70s. They build this power plant in like this poor town that's like basically like just an hour north of Oklahoma City, which is already really backwards there. Anyway, long story short, Karen Silkwood is this woman, and they have like a union and all this. She finds out like that, like the power plant is actually like extremely radioactive and poisoning everything in the area, and that like it's actually poisoning her and stuff.
Right.
So somehow she
I know
she gets in touch with like a New York Times reporter, like, and basically kind of spills the thing to him. But before she can get to that meeting with him, someone drives her off the road, like murders her by like driving her off the road.
Right.
So she can never get to him, and then like steals those files that she had. That's a true story.
Right.
So I remember, we were like in Oklahoma City, which was like the weirdest. And Oklahoma City still is, to me, the weirdest city maybe in America, because it's such a weird, like it's stuck in the 70s type place.
Weird
Back
shit.
then, oh my God, like Oklahoma City, I remember it had this one record store in it. This is because I remember seeing Oklahoma City for the first time. Oklahoma had this like record store. But don't put him on that list. That's not fair anymore. But and shout outs to Beaumont.
Shout outs to Beaumont.
I do actually own.
I
own a piece of property in Beaumont.
I'm doing a show with Jay Moore at the Fox in Bakersfield May 10th. So Bakersfield.
Wait a
Fox
minute.
Theater.
Wait a minute. Yes, I do want to come, and we got to talk about that.
Listen,
because that could make an epic episode of the new thing that I'm working on.
Okay, now listen.
Which I'll tell you about.
I got to go to San Diego right now. Will you come back Sunday for part 2?
Yeah, I'd love to.
Yeah, because we're just touching scratching the surface.
Are you sure this is all interesting still?
What are you talking about, dude?
Okay.
It's great. So listen, you'll come back Sunday?
I will more than come back
today,
Sunday.
We would have finished it. So you got to come back Sunday, I'd say around 2 o'clock or something.
I do have to say, I'm not the best. I am a very good driver, but it's a very interesting. Like, let's say you're eating at the 101 Cafe, then you have to kind of.
I'm at all the time.
I saw you. There's a billboard for you.
That's right.
Dean Delray.
Yeah, the Delray.
It's a picture of you.
Sandwich.
Yeah.
You gotta get a Delray sandwich.
Yes.
All right, let's do.
You're amazing. Hold on.
Yeah.
Really quick.
Okay.
Final thing.
Okay.
Let me final thing that he's out of here.
Yeah.
Because but Bakersfield, the armpit of Bakersfield is called Oildale.
I know it. That's where corn's from.
Kind of.
Right. But
kind
they
of.
wrote that song, Oildale.
They wrote Oildale because me and my older sister, years on, because I've done so much cool stuff since MTV, we made this film project going through all these backwoods towns and filming all kinds of crystal meth addicts in Oildale. Yeah. So I see Jonathan Davis like a year before that song comes out. I tell him about because I remember he's from Bakersfield. I tell him, dude, you know all about Oildale. And we have like a talk about it. He's like, dude, I ought to do a song called Oildale.
Yeah.
And Oildale is the armpit. But if you and Jay Moore, because I've met Jay, coolest guy.
Yeah, right?
We got to do something where we film the Bakersfield Adventures. Definitely.
Now listen to this
before
we go to part 2 on Sunday. YouTube Dean Delray Corn and watch that video. And then I'll just leave it with that. All right, there he is. We'll go to part 2 on Sunday. Jesse Camp, MTV, VJ. All right, we'll pick it up from there when you come back.
Damn!